Hi, I'm Tane.
And I'm Aid, and this is Altar Call, a Married at First Sight podcast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Alta Call MAFS. Today, we will be discussing all the rage in town, the reality show that has taken the reality world by storms, but the secret lives of, oh God, I said this wrong.
It's
God,
rough to get
the
out.
secret, the secret lives of Mormon wives that's airing on Hulu. Hi, Aid. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm okay. It's a bittersweet episode because this is your final regular episode, well, regular feed episode. So I'm glad it's going to be on a show that, wow, my mind is blown. This is a show. so, um, yeah, I'm glad we get to discuss that. But other than that, I'm fine and just, yeah, like I said, bittersweet.
So, yeah, this is my final episode ish. In that, of course, I will be back at some point. I think that the goal is to give myself some time to miss doing a podcast, and then I'll come back, I'll bother Tane, and be like, I'm ready to come back on to be a guest. So that'll give us time to miss each other. That's my goal. Uh, but yeah. Uh, So we have a premiere date for Married at First Sight, October. What is the premiere date actually, Tate?
I think it is 15th, October 15th, and they've moved it from Wednesdays to Tuesdays now, which is fantastic for me because Wednesday is stacked. Usually there's Beverly Hills, there's Survivor, there's The Challenge, there's Big Brother. So moving it to Tuesday, I am okay with that.
So since they're coming back, what's going on with the people from the previous seasons?
Not much really, but the biggest news is that Jamie had her twins. They're here as usual. Jamie has all the details if you're looking for it on her YouTube channel, on her stories, and on her feed. And the names of the twins, she stuck with the tradition of giving her babies H names. They are Hawkins and Huxley.
Not bad, not bad at all.
um, this is not really news, but Lindsay from Boston had like a caption where she talked about her relationship with her mom, how she doesn't really have one, but she was thrown a surprise bridal shower by her future mother in law and her sister. And I think she mentioned something about how her mom also had a toxic relationship with her mom. So maybe she was just working with what she had. But I'm glad, I guess, she's marrying into a family that is showing her love and it's reciprocated. So I just thought it would be news for everyone to know.
Very nice. Good for Lindsay. Her wedding's in November, right?
I don't know. The last time I talked about it, I said 2 months to go, and I can't remember when that was. But it's around the corner.
Okay.
Might be sooner actually. So who knows?
Alrighty.
Yeah. So usually I'd ask Aid, any housekeeping, what are you sharing? But navigating the world without Aid, still figuring it out. So some housekeeping is that Love is Blind, as we know, premieres October 2nd. I will be covering Love is Blind with Nana. So the first episodes before the MAPS premiere are going to be on the regular feed. And then when MAPS comes back, it's going to be on the Patreon. We will also, I said we, I'll also have after party recaps. I'm not quite sure about the cadence for that, but there'll be after party recaps for that. And then maybe some roundups on the reality shows of what's going on. Not quite figured out, but these are some of the things I'll be discussing on the Patreon. And then for regular maps, for the time being, it'll just be guests coming on, but there will be maps coverage for the new season, the upcoming season. And like we said, it's this is the last episode for Aid for her for the regular feed, but we do have one last Patreon episode, and we'll be covering the beloved Sister Wives, which I think is also fitting, Aid, because again, I say it all the time. You made me watch the show, so I'm glad like we're ending on that note with Sister Wives.
They're still a mess. They're still a mess.
Yeah, they are. All right, so we're gonna go to break and we will talk about the secret lives of Mormon wives. Life doesn't happen bi weekly, so why should payday? The money you earn can be in your hands today with EarnIn. EarnIn is an app that gives you access to your pay as you work, up to $100 per day or up to $750 per pay period. Just download the EarnIn app and verify your paycheck, then access up to $100 a day as you work and leave an optional tip. Any money you access plus tips are automatically repaid from your next paycheck. Whether it's a special gift for a loved one or needing help early with rent this month, make EarnIn a part of your financial routine and join EarnIn's over 3.5 million customers who say things like, when I think about EarnIn, I think about financial stability and security. It gives me a lot of peace of mind. Download EarnIn today, spelled EARNIN, in the Google Play or Apple App Store. When you download the EarnIn app, type in Alto Call under podcast. When you sign up, it'll really help the show. That's Alto Call under podcast. Subject to your available earnings, location, daily max, and pay period max. See earnin.com/TOS for details. Earnin is a financial technology company, not a bank. Bank products are issued by Evolve Bank and Trust, member FDIC. Amour makes getting dressed easy. With a clothing rental membership from Amour, build the perfect wardrobe with brands that are high quality, unique, and recommended just for you. All you have to do is take a 5-minute style quiz and select items from your dynamic, personalized closet. The styles show up at your door in as little as 2 days. Then, when you're ready for new clothes, just swap them out for more new to you styles. I had a birthday party, and it was so nice to have a dress from Amour, and I didn't have to think about buying something new for the party.
Isn't it great that Armoire is also women founded and women led? They even spotlight women owned designers on their website, so you'll know that you're wearing brands that are aligned with your values. Right now, our listeners can give Armoire a try and get up to 50% off their first month. That's up to $125 off. Just visit armoire.style slash altercallmaths. That's armoire, ARMOIRE dot style slash ALTARCALLMAFS to get 50% off your first month and never worry about what to wear again. Try on more today.
And we're back. All right, Aid, what is this show?
It was so pleasant because this show got me on hype in the sense that, like, I wasn't planning. I think I saw a preview. Then it just seemed like every podcaster was talking about it. Then the Watch What Crappens guys were talking about it. I was like, finally, I was like, okay, let me watch it. Then I watched it and I was like, oh, this is great.
I mean, I had all intents to watch it because the promo budget was high. I think Hulu was like, "Oh, we definitely got a hit on our hands, so we are going all out on this." And it's always better when you live up to the hype. And I think it's also a thing of I know you didn't watch The Valley, but I think I said the same thing about The Valley where it was just refreshing because we are, those of us that are in the reality world, like we've talked about this too, Aid, we are in the world where the shows that we've been watching for a long time, aka Housewives and all the ones that come on Bravo, they are kind of stale. I mean, I feel bad like I'm saying something terrible about shows that we love, but a lot of them need tweaks and all that. So when something comes on that's brand new on the scene and it's refreshing and it's just enjoyable and everyone is leaning heavy on their season 1 energy, like trying to stand out and leaning into their whole villain era, it's like the best thing you could ever ask for in a reality show. And if Mormon Wives was not made into a reality show, that would have been a disservice to us. It has every single ingredient required for a reality show. It was fantastic.
It was very good. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
One of the many commentaries I've heard about Mormon wives, and the same thing sort of for Salt Lake City housewives, is that it allows us to peek into a world. Like, I guess, do you still see the Mormon religion and adherence to the Mormon faith as like a mystery world? Or at this point, It's not a mystery anymore.
Neither. Because part of what I wanted to talk about on this episode was like, it feels like the Mormon religion is basically just a character now in reality shows. I don't know why these people call themselves Mormon when they don't really truly actually believe wholeheartedly in the rules or the beliefs. So I don't think I have a peak because these people are not living it. So I just don't know why they're calling it that. But like Salt Lake City is also having its own, resurgence or era. I don't know what it's called, but then we have Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. We have the Mormon Wives. We have Sister Wives that's back. We have there's another show, selling SLC or something like that. So I don't know. I just think it's a hot ticket because I know like even though like selling SLC is a real estate show, somehow the Mormon religion is going to be, thrown in there somehow because it just gets the people going. So I don't think I have a peak. I just think it's kind of like a marketing tool, if I could say that.
I cannot believe that the church is pleased with their reality TV presentation. It's not a good look.
It's
Every
not.
time it's a lot. We're not getting people who are like adherents to the rules and appreciative of we're just getting a bunch of rebels and people doing whatever they
Yeah.
want. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, but I do understand what you're asking because there are a lot of like quote unquote revelations, but I think we've got bits and pieces from all like the documentaries and all the things over there, like how the patriarchy is strong in there and the overarching like umbrella that was all through this show, which is these kids getting married at like the youngest of age. Someone said it somewhere in the show where we're getting married before our brains are even developed. Like hearing someone say like I'm divorced at 22 or I'm 23 and being married for 6 years, my mind is blown. I don't think I knew what I wanted when I was 23.
but see, I don't find that different from like evangelical Christianity.
Um, I
In the
don't
way of
know.
I've
16?
experienced it with people getting married very young, people getting
16?
divorced. 16 is extra young, I'll say that. But yeah,
The getting young, I think I'm okay. Like if you're getting married at 23, but we look at like Layla, 22, she's divorced with two kids. Michaela, 23, at 6 years. I don't know. It just seems like they're like on their second divorces and they're like 23.
I will
It's
just say that
just,
in the evangelical church I grew up with, it yeah, there was a lot of people getting married very, very young.
yeah, they're doing it just to have sex, I guess. Well, it's the same reason here. Well, not really, because a lot of them get pregnant before.
Not because they're pregnant or because pressure from their family now that they're having sex. I'll give the
Yeah.
evangelicals that. I mean, they generally want you to not have sex before you're married. But if there's no baby, I don't think they're going to be like, hey, you're having sex, go ahead and get married.
Yeah. My question for you is, were you aware of Mom Talk? I mean, I'm not on TikTok, so I'm just out the loop. I had no idea this was a thing, but did you know Mom Talk?
Never heard of mom talk, not on TikTok. Never heard or seen any of these women before in my life.
You've seen one,
Who?
Whitney, when we
What?
found out she was the one who danced with her baby
I don't
when she
remember
was
that.
sick. Oh, you didn't see the meme?
No.
That was part of the reason why I said I was going to watch the show because before it even came out, some TV person had written like this show is going to be something because finding out that one of the cast members is the person who was doing a dance when her baby had RSV in the hospital, and I was like, oh, I got to do this. Oh man, so that's the only one that's close enough, but I didn't know what her name was. I didn't know she was part of Mom Talk, but yeah, okay. I would be curious to know the ratio of people who knew Mom Talk
Yeah,
versus
I would
didn't know
say there
before the
might
show.
even be people who do the RSV video, but like I wasn't among them. No.
Oh, yeah, I think that went viral. And Knowing what I know now, I think the goal was to go viral. But just me, just me. Um, so the first episode was shot clearly way before, I guess, they decided like they were going to pick up the show. And for me, I'm just curious, like, how did the show come about? Who pitched this show? Who approached Taylor like, okay, we're going to make a show out of this? And then what happened between the first episode being shot and the next, the season being picked up and then deciding to do that? I was gonna ask how long it was, but she got pregnant, so I'm guessing 9 months. So I'm very fascinated, and I would love to know the behind the scenes of how it all came about.
I mean, I have no facts. I just have what I thought happened based on watching. But I assumed that they were all ready to go with the show. Like they were filming the show, and then Taylor
Hmm.
got arrested, and they were like, boop, boop. So then they had to wait for her, basically her legal stuff to be resolved, which it
Hmm.
was. And then they're like, okay, we'll pick back up again. Like I
So,
wonder
okay,
if they even knew that the show was coming back, or if they were like, okay, this is a bad bet. Like you're having legal difficulties, and you're supposed to be one of the main people on the show, but then she gets
yeah.
pregnant, the legal situation is resolved. So they're like, okay, we'll come back.
That makes sense. So let's talk about the other one. Like, what do you think was the whole? Because after that accusation, where Taylor just go again, just to show you how all the different lives that people live. I'm sure there are people that are like, "Oh my god, it was the biggest scandal ever," and we're here like, "Never even heard of it, never heard of that." But she goes on live and tells everyone that everyone's swinging. Why would you want to still be associated with someone who aired whatever dirty laundry? Because a lot of them are lying. Everyone is saying it wasn't them. So who was it then? And for the saints, the people who say they truly adhere to the religion and all that, why would you want to be associated with the show or with the person who kind of quote unquote tainted your group? Like, is it just the fame is more important to them?
They did a pretty decent job of showing this, but they, I don't think, showed us even half of exactly how much this is all a business.
Yeah.
Everything is a business. Even when they're like, oh, mom talk is about empowering. No, mom talk is about you guys getting your money and getting your deals because you are the breadwinners in your house. So,
Hmm.
as much as they might have any moral objections to what Taylor has done, basically, I think what they're just trying to figure out is, can I get more followers off this or less? And I will let my my conscience guide me accordingly.
Yeah. I do want to say this though. I want to slightly disagree that I know they say it's about empowerment and it seems like they hate each other, but much like human nature, some people gravitate more to each other. But I actually do feel like they do provide some encouragement to each other. It could be toxic in some way, but I'll give examples. Like Taylor just even being able to confide in Macy when she goes through her shit with Dakota. Jen being able to talk to anyone, like even being comfortable. Like she didn't go the route of, I'm not going to tell anyone what Zach is doing. Like she actually confides to them and gives them details, even knowing that they might hate him, but she still has some kind of outlet. I just feel like it's so necessary because people who go through, it's not an abusive relationship, but a, I don't know the word for it, whatever that relationship where you feel trapped, tend to just continue playing cover up and keep to themselves and isolate themselves. So having an outlet where they feel comfortable to even talk about it, I think is pretty cool. And they were able to like, even though in the worst approach ever, but they're able to give you perspective. And then at some point, Jen said, they're validating some of the thoughts that I've had in my mind. I thought that was pretty cool.
You are correct. In that I do think they are there are some genuine relationships there and there were some
Yeah.
definite genuine moments,
Yeah.
but I do feel at the end of the day some of this is just coworkers.
No, that's fair. I don't think anyone having a choice would be friends with Taylor, but they recognize that for some reason, Whitney's the only one who voiced it. Taylor somehow is the queen bee and the person people gravitate to the most, so they have to put up with her to, get their money. So, but I think if they had their choice, they wouldn't associate with her. And let's talk about Rachel. I mean, sorry, Taylor. Why am I calling her Rachel? Let's talk
I
about
took
Taylor
a hell of a
because
time trying to tell all these women apart, by the way. That is one of the most
I,
difficult things. There's a lot of same hair color, same hairstyle. I think it's called a beach wave. Everybody does their hair the same way. It took a minute, and I'm still not exactly sure who is who sometimes. But yes, they all look alike.
they do. I think I'm calling Taylor Rachel because honestly, she reminds me of Raquel from Vanderpump Rules a lot. But yes, they do look alike. They do admit that they try to look alike. And to me, one of the saddest things was when one of them says, "Yeah, we all look alike. We try to look alike. We go off base of what's trending." That was just really sad to me. And I don't know. I'm not very well versed on the beauty, you know, things that people do to their faces, but they all look like porcelain dolls. Like they're just really pale with the same makeup, with the same everything. And it does lay credence to what Heather Gay was telling us on SLC. Like they don't believe in drinking or drinking caffeine or whatever, but somehow surgery is. This is confusing. Like,
It's
is
also
it because.
confusing because the oldest member of the group is 31 years old. She's the
Yes.
oldest. The youngest is 22.
Yeah.
None of y'all should be anywhere near plastic surgery.
Well, they're starting younger now. Everyone's starting Botox earlier and looking older, so I'm just really confused at what is happening. But the difference between episode 1 and then the rest of the season with Taylor was such a huge difference. Like almost like that arrest kind of reset her life because when I was watching episode 1, I was just like, how can someone want this much toxicity in their lives and literally run towards it? I felt so bad for her mom. I was just like, her mom was like, "You're aging me. Like, I don't know what else to do. You do everything that you think is the best you could do, and your kid is just telling you, nah, I'm going to tell everyone we had." She said it's soft swinging, which I had to watch a video of her on The View because I think someone asked, "What is soft swinging?" And she's like, "Everything but in front of your partner." And I'm like, this is just confusing to me. It's swinging or it's not. But
Just
deciding to get
to
a
clarify
go
for the
ahead.
people, because I also
Yeah.
got some information as to exactly what soft swinging was.
Okay.
It sounded like they were basically having sex in front of each other, but not with each other. And where it all fell apart was the moment where someone was like, "Oh, I want to sleep." I can't remember who it was, whether it was Taylor or someone else. Basically tried to like move it towards what I would call normal swinging. And someone else was like, nah, that's like not what we signed up for. I don't know if it was her husband or her. I can't remember who it was. But that's what
No,
soft swinging was. No one was sleeping together.
wait, hold on. So, when you say sleeping together, you mean the couples?
Like they were having sex in front of each other, but not with each other.
The couples were having sex with other couples, not their actual partners, but not with each other.
No, the couples were having sex. Like Taylor and her husband were having sex with each other in front of other couples.
Oh, that's not how I understood it. I understood that they were having sex with other people, but in front of their partners, so it's not like cheating or anything. But then where she got wrong was that she had feelings and caught feelings for one of the other people that she started sleeping with. Like it's open, it's just as it's in front of them, which I just think is an orgy, but whatever. And then she caught feelings and then she stepped outside of the boundaries of what that is because you can't go have sex outside when I'm not in front of the person. Yes, you've had sex with the person in front of me, but you can't go do it outside when I'm not there. Then it becomes cheating. Because if they were having sex with each other, they're not swinging. You're
That's
swinging when you have sex with somebody else.
the funny thing. I mean, you heard it straight from the horse's mouth. I heard it secondhand. So you're saying this is what she said on the View?
No, this is what she said on the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, on The View, she did say, like, she alluded to that, like, it's that they were having sex in front of each other. But that is what the swinging would be. If they're having sex with each other, they're not swinging. Swinging is basically having sex with somebody else that's not your partner. You're trading couples. So then she had sex with someone else. But wow, we've talked a lot about swinging. But um, yeah, and then I think she just wanted out of her marriage, and in typical Taylor fashion, instead of just doing the right thing, she just went and cheated on her husband, I guess.
So then, uh, very shortly after she breaks up with her husband, she starts dating this new guy, Dakota.
And he's an addict, and he's insecure, and she goes and gets pregnant for him when he doesn't really seem like she has an interest in the two children that she has, because her mom said it would be nice if you spend more time with them. Like, I'd rather not raise them. And she just kind of brushed that aside. And then she miscarried. And instead of seeing that as a fresh start, she instead went and got pregnant again. And I've just been, that is the most chaotic thing I've seen in a long time.
Chaotic, unnecessary. Um, what I found interesting is I'm like, is this where we should be going for new reality TV? Is people who are already living their lives online and therefore more willing to be open. Now, granted, TikTok and Instagram is where you can curate what you put out, and a reality TV show is not quite the same. But
Mm-hmm.
there's no way Mormon TikTok blogging moms do not have their children on their stuff. You know, we got RSV baby, like. So something I found very interesting about the show is that yeah, they're used to being open, but I don't. That we didn't see a lot of children. We barely saw any children uh, on the
I
show.
think I think the children we didn't see are the ones whose dads they're separated, so their dads do not allow. So like Layla's getting a divorce, so no children. Taylor's getting a divorce. We only saw the back of her head for episode 1, and after that, no children. Jesse has had a divorce, so I think she's trying to have a dad. Yeah, so no children. Demi, the same thing. Which, by the fact, fun fact, Demi's husband, that's the one that has, sorry, it's Demi, because I kept remembering that it's not the usual pronunciation. It's Demi. She's 29 and her husband is 46, and they keep calling him the older one. He was married to Angie Harrington from Salt Lake City. And the Angie, because there's a lot of Angies, the blonde one in the very beginning who didn't come back, that was a friend of. That was her. That's her ex husband that is married to Demi.
It's a very
So
small world. This Mormon Salt Lake City world. Very tiny.
there's no way. So I think we didn't see those, but we saw Whitney's, and who else? We saw a little bit of Michaela's. Does Macy have kids?
I never did figure that out.
She did, because when she met with Dakota, she goes, "I'm late," and there was a car seat in the back. But we did not. I don't recognize the husbands. But yeah, I think they chose, like you said, not to focus on the kids a lot, but we just saw them like when they go to parties, they just had the kids on their hip and stuff. But to go back to a question you said, should we be minding people from social media? I don't know if it's a yes or no, but I think what we do need is people who already have actual connections and actual friendships. That is always the unique or different thing for a reality show that's good. Like Atlanta started having its demise when they started just throwing people randomly to join. But when you have people who've known each other for years or actually have a connection, you can always see the difference in how they react.
And I don't know if we should call this friendship, but whatever these women have, they have connections.
Oh, they do have connections that go back. Like the mom talk started apparently with Taylor, Whitney, Macy, and Michaela. Not quite sure where Michaela fit into this because Michaela was such a background character. Between her and Layla, it took me a while because I'm like, okay, did we just throw Layla here because she's black, which in itself, I wish they went more into her story, because being a black Mormon is a journey in of itself. And she spoke about she's a convert. She decided to do this on her own, and we got a little bit of her family life. We didn't get a lot, but we really didn't get into her life until episode 5, and there are 8 episodes. So I don't know. She felt like a background player to me as well.
She felt like a background player, but honestly, when they asked her about being black and Mormon, I don't think she has any. I don't think there's any depth to what she might
Yeah,
have to say about it. I think she's just like, oh, I'm black, I'm very light. uh, I married
yeah.
a Mormon, and now we're divorced.
Yeah, and I wish she just talked about. I mean, I guess they've mentioned before, again, bits and pieces from other shows, that they've relaxed their, I guess, laws or rules on being black. But what does it feel like to be part of a religion that rejected who you are? Like, it's just interesting. But I also wish they also talked about being the only black person in a group of, I don't know how many they are, and being the only black person. But to your point, there's no depth, because maybe she really doesn't have a point of view and she's just used to it. I don't know. So I was a little disappointed in her story.
Yeah, I was disappointed, but not that surprised.
Yeah. Um, what else is there to talk about?
So let's talk about our main character, because I do feel like she was the star of the show. She's the one who got arrested. She's the one who gave birth. Taylor Frankie Paul. She's also the only like. I'm sorry. She does have, because also when you're pregnant, you guys have been pregnant. You know this. Your face kind of changes.
Hmm.
So because her face changed, she was one of, and because she was brunette, she was the star of the show, in my opinion. It was very easy to identify her from the rest.
No, she looked different. Again, she didn't look like the porcelain doll and overly made up like the rest of them. So yeah.
Her relationship with Dakota is toxic. We all got to. I mean, I just feel like the first time you get arrested because of your partner, like there's really no going back from that. Like that should be the end of your
Hmm.
relationship if you know what's good for you.
Hmm. Like, in general, not just a Taylor thing, it's a pet peeve of mine when people are in toxic or unhealthy relationships and they just decide, oh, the best thing to do is to get pregnant. Yes, they say accidents happens, but we know there are ways to prevent this. Like, don't bring an innocent child into this. Like, there's so much stuff that needs to be sorted out. It wasn't fully clear if he was sober or not. Episode 1 and the rest of the show are like two different shows. Episode 1, he's telling her like, oh, I can't be with someone who parties, I can be with someone who drinks, like, you need to slow it down. And then by the rest of the episode, we're hearing bits and pieces of like, he's working on his journey and stuff. And I'm like, did he relapse? But I don't think they really wanted to get into that, maybe because she was pregnant and having a child. But it's also like, you have to do what's best, for the child, if you do decide to have a child. And there was one line when they were going back and forth where she said she doesn't trust Dakota. She doesn't know, if he really stepped with this, what was her name? Just something girl. And Dakota says, then why would you have a baby with me? I hate to be on his side on anything. I'm not even calling his side, but that is the question I had too. Was like, why would you have a baby for someone who seems to be unstable?
And mind you, there was a miscarriage. So I'm like, okay, the first one, maybe that was an accident.
Yeah,
Why did it? From the timeline? It's like miscarriage, arrest, pregnant again.
yeah.
And then we've got our wonderful girl, Macy, getting messages from people who are like, no, from the very beginning, getting messages from people saying, oh, I was dating him at the same time. And Macy is, while Dakota is like the star of the show, Macy's the one who you have to bring back every season. She's the voice of reason, she's the truth teller, and she's like not gonna let no Dakota tell her what she can and can't say to her friend.
She's also Switzerland. She's on both sides.
I I really both with I think she did a really good job with Jen too. Um
Yeah,
she's just a superstar in terms of just I love a truth teller. Not a
yeah,
malicious or mean or just I'm just saying the truth.
yeah,
I'm speaking for the audience too because this is what they
yeah.
wish they could tell you in this moment.
And it doesn't look put on. It seems like she's just being herself. So even better, the authenticity was there. So yeah, I don't know what Taylor was thinking. Especially, she seems to have a very visceral reaction when she talks about not trusting him. So I would think that if you really don't trust him, you go to your doctor and you're like, yeah, put that IUD in me. Like, I'm not gonna take that chance. Like, she starts crying, she starts shaking, and she's just convinced. I mean, she put out something yesterday. I think they're broken up, but you know those relationships. We're broken up. Tomorrow they're together. They're trying for the kid, and I don't know that I can confidently say that they're completely done. But as of now, I guess they're broken up. But Dakota falls under the same thing with these men who think that they're following the Mormon rules, but yet here we are, and the women are the breadwinners. Is that part of what it's supposed to be? I thought the women just have children, be good wives, and the men are supposed to provide. So why are we picking and choosing and being okay with this?
I think all of these start as an accident, and then before you know it, you are making bukus of money.
Well, they should just add their own bukus of money and stop relying. It doesn't mean you should stop working. All their houses were nice. And like we said, they're all like 23, 22. So where they're really listen, when Whitney came and said she had a vibrator and she was being offered 20,000, honestly, Aid, I'm just like, okay, how much are these influencers getting paid? I've never heard of these women before, and all she has to do is post a picture. What happens to the ones that I have heard of before? How much are they getting paid? Is there that much money to go around?
Apparently so, and especially we live in a very fragmented world where I have no idea who this person is, but there's a whole universe of people who are the right demographic. They are no one spends money like people with children because children are expensive. Um they are young. Like they reach an audience that has money and therefore they're like an advertiser's dream.
That's insane. Because yeah, I mean, I did laugh when she brought out the vibrator, and I think it was Layla or somebody that said, is that a mini karaoke microphone? That made me laugh.
Layla's the poor one who's 22 years old, divorced, two kids, and never had an orgasm. Oh,
Oof.
that was
Yeah,
painful
yeah,
to
yeah,
hear. Very painful.
yeah. It was, it was. But yeah, I don't know. I wonder, for anyone who knows who she is, did she eventually post that? I mean, with the way she was touting it, carrying it around to her mom, her sister, I'm assuming that she went ahead and posted it. Do we want to talk about Whitney?
Of course. Uh, she seemed to be the villain, but a very, like, I don't know. I couldn't even work up that much hatred for her.
If you're going to be a villain, the rule is lean in into being a villain. Don't be a villain and try to now act like you are nice, but maybe it's a combination of just not being self aware. Because I
But
think
also the
we.
whole living in Hawaii thing, like, and just coming back to do the show. The inauthenticity is a little, yeah.
But it seems on brand. Like, the whole thing about Whitney is that she keeps running away whenever she has problems. So we don't know how long she would have stayed in Hawaii, but then the show came back and she's like, "Okay, I'll come back to shoot the show." Whitney's another person who's chaotic. Like, it's easy to call Taylor chaotic, and honestly, I appreciate Taylor because she's making these decisions, and like it's just her. Whitney is trying to control it, and how can you have that much control and you're making terrible decisions, and then you're trying to pretend you're a nice person, but then nothing seems to make any sense? So I think she's chaotic because you thought you were going to be an actress in 9 months or something. So you could be better than a reality show. Like, what was your thought process?
I will say another thing that I sort of noticed this with the videos is that Whitney is actually like probably the best dancer of all of them.
Yeah.
And that's why she also felt a little type of ways about like all these background artists basically. And she's supposed to be the star. Oh,
I actually think Whitney is so pretty. I think she looks like a doll, but I actually think that she's so pretty every time I see her. But just lean into your human nature and say with your chest that you're jealous of Rachel, and what you really want is sorry, I keep calling her Rachel, Taylor. And just say it with your chest that you do not understand what it is about Taylor, because in her mind, she thinks that Taylor is a basic bitch and doesn't really do anything, doesn't even live by the Mormon rules. And you know how people think, oh, I'm being good, so I should get all the blessings or whatever. So I should be the one. I'm the one that's married. I'm the one that's stable. I'm the one that's this. So what is it about Taylor that everyone gravitates to that they can't give me? But instead, all she came up with was, oh, I feel like they gave her grace over my RSV video. And I'm like, girl, you got to say things with your chest, because that whole thing of not showing up for her baby shower, telling everyone that she's not your friend, she's not this or whatever, and not even having a conversation with Taylor, that was weird.
and the whole thing about your husband being on Tinder for the entirety of your marriage, but you're gonna go have another baby for him, like
I'm not going to lie to you, Aid. I think she got pregnant because Taylor got pregnant. This may be terrible of me, but I think she thinks it's another. She's one of those people who has to have attention, and I think she feels like, oh, maybe she got grace because Taylor got pregnant. Like, I know she mentioned in some episode, oh, I want to be pregnant. Who even knows if she wasn't pregnant already? But I really do think like she did it like for attention. That sounds terrible.
content creation is really weird because if you ask, I feel like if you ask the content creators what gets you your highest engagement, nothing
Hmm.
gets you engagement like a baby or a wedding.
Yes, a romantic relationship. Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
so there's an incentive beyond, the other reasons to
Yeah,
have a baby.
yeah. So, okay, that scene where she tells them about the Tinder and all of that stuff, I do feel a couple of things were kind of brushed over. So, that whole Tinder thing was brushed over. And then Taylor immediately tells them about her miscarriage. Did you think Whitney had a point there?
No, I think if you're in the middle of actively miscarrying, how in the hell are you not going to say something? I didn't
Huh.
think it was I didn't think it was the suffering Olympics.
Okay. I kind of felt like Whitney had a point because it's not like Taylor said anything to them, or I don't know if she was planning to say anything to them. I don't know what the goal of the meeting was, but Whitney called the meeting. So if she called the meeting and said, hey, I want to share something serious with you guys, I think she should have given her space to work through it or let anyone say that, because immediately if someone tells you, oh, they're miscarrying, then that's it. You don't get the quote unquote space or the support or the moment to just kind of get your feelings out there for a secret that you've been carrying for a long time.
Did she say she lied about it though? So like
Yes,
someone
but
else found him and then they were like, "Oh no, that's not him. That wasn't us."
yes, but she was confessing. She was choosing to be honest with her friends now. And Taylor's like, oh, I could be miscarrying. I think I've been pregnant for 4 weeks, but I'm just. And the funny part is, like, Taylor's not even thinking about it. And that's the part that Whitney doesn't get. Taylor is not putting up an act. Whitney kind of is. Taylor, even when she's being selfish, is just her. She's just thinking about, I gotta tell you guys I'm miscarrying right now. I don't know what to do. My life's a mess. But Whitney is probably just saying it like, yeah, she's telling her friends, but she's like, oh, this is a moment on camera, my truth. So, and it doesn't come up as true. So, honestly, when I can't remember who was saying it, Demi or somebody when they were saying like the two queen bees are Whitney and Taylor and they're fighting for. I'm like, how is Whitney the queen bee? Is there something we're not being shown, or is it just the fact that maybe she's creative in the videos and she comes up with good choreography? I don't know, but it didn't really seem like a contest because the girls don't seem to like Whitney.
Yeah. I don't know. I never could figure out why was it the sanctimoniousness, but other of them are sanctimonious too. Is it I really think it was the moving to Hawaii thing might have been what pushed people over the edge.
Honestly, I think she's been exhibiting that behavior beforehand. But like you said, it's a business. So they have to like, put up with each other because they're a group. So what are they going to do? But speaking of, the Saints and other members of the group, let's talk about Jen. Jen, the only one whose Chiron has her last name, which is Affleck. They're the only ones who said Jen Affleck and Zach Affleck, but nobody else gets to have their last name on there, which I don't get the points.
And then sorry, that's another thing that has been debunked.
Yeah,
Second
it has.
cousin. Apparently, maybe there are cousins of a kind, but they are not second cousins.
It's just a weird way to like. I would think, let me not piss off this guy and even try to associate with like, okay, second cousin, but you've never met, they don't know, what is the point? It just seems so pointless to me, but it
All you
was
had to say was
fascinating.
related, distant relation. That's all you had to say. Because people will ask. If your last name is Affleck, people will be like, "Are you related?" You can be like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, we're related, but it's very distant." That's all you got to say. Not second cousin.
yeah. It was kind of cool though that she and J-Lo have the same first name, middle name, and then last, because J-Lo did change her name for that. But before all the confessions and all the things, honestly, that relationship just seems very suffocating. Like I cannot understand anything. When she said that Zach's dad is a surgeon, and she says, I don't come from money, and I'm from, did she say her mom is from Ecuador? Did I get that right?
I remember it was somewhere in South or Central America, but I don't remember if it was
Okay.
Ecuador.
Okay. So she said, to put it in context, my mom is the cleaning lady in the same hospital where Zach's dad is a surgeon. Maybe it's not, listen, people come from all different walks of life. But I don't know if that is something based on how she's describing the family, how they're big pillars in the church and they seem to be uppity, rich white people. I don't know if that is something I could live with every day because she did say that sometimes she feels like she doesn't fit in. That is just too much to live every day.
And you have to wonder, where does this feeling come from? Because I don't know. I'm just like, your mom makes an honest living. I don't think that
Now,
there's something to be ashamed of there. But clearly it sounded to be the way she spoke about it that she does feel ashamed. And I'm like, are you ashamed of how you grew up? Are you ashamed of your mom? Like, did they make you feel this way, or is this something internal?
I don't think it's necessarily. I, I don't think it's either of them. I think it's just if you, again, never experienced it. I'm not from like a, what do they call it? Aristocratic family or a family with a name or something like that. But from what I've read, from what I've seen, there are always rules. There are always things you need to live up to. There are always things that you didn't grow up with. And I think it's human nature sometimes to feel out of your depth because it's just not what you grew up with. If you didn't grow up with like, oh, you have to use the right silverware, or you have to serve this, or you have to that, and then you're constantly reminded that you have to. These are just examples and speculations. I don't know what exact examples, but just based on her comment on like sometimes I feel left out or I'm reminded or something like that, I would think that it's a reminder because you look at these people and you're just like, yeah, she makes an honest living. It's not about that, but it's just like, listen, I don't come from money. You can just feel out of place sometimes when, you know, you're in a place where you just know these are not your people.
I would also say that part of the reason why their marriage is having issues is she is the breadwinner now. He is trying to go to med school. Word on the street is that he gambled away all the money his parents gave him to go to med school. So if he
Yeah,
wants to go to med school, she's going to have to pay for it. And she's the one with the money to pay for it. I don't think
honestly.
he's prepared for this reversal in fortune. And I think that's where the controlling and like what is the other stuff that I can hold over your head now that I can't hold money over your head because you have that now.
That drove me nuts. Especially after like the Vegas fight and him calling her like a whore and like she has no values and that he's done and all that kind of stuff. Sir, you are the addict. You are the gambler. You are the one that was giving like some pocket change and some pocket money that you went to gamble away. Is that part of the church's tenets? Like
I'm
that
like,
really drove me insane. And she was apologizing. That was so unfair.
it was crazy. And I was just like, I don't know if it's strictly in the rule. We got to learn the Mormon rules because I'm like, in the
I
Mormon rules, are you allowed to gamble?
don't think so. Right? I mean, that's true. Someone let us know, but I can't imagine that it's, well, surgery is okay, so I don't know. I can't imagine it's part of the rules because even if it's not part of the rules, you're losing money for your family. There's no money for you to go to school. That is very irresponsible.
I, none of these religions can ever escape the hypocrisy. Like, yeah, a lot of like when they said in the beginning, oh, the nice thing about Big Mormon or a good thing about Big Mormon is like there's these values like family and like I imagine that if you're part of like a strong Mormon like church, there's like so much family activities and like if you need a babysitter to go to the doctor, you can usually find another mom to help you out. Like I'm sure there's great community in the Mormon church. But
Yeah.
there's always downsides with these things and there's always hypocrisy like oh they have to be very careful about what they do online because everybody could see it and someone in the church might judge and they have to be careful about what they do on the show because even more people are going to see it but
Yeah.
he's not concerned about what people are going to see while he's like gambling at the casino like it's just
Yeah.
so weird.
Yeah. Did you catch the producer was like, can we talk about Zach's gambling? And she's like, oh, as long as it's not portrayed as a bad thing or a negative. And I'm like, ma'am, what is the good thing about it? But either way, Jen looks depleted. There is no light in Jen's eyes. Jen just looks like all the life has been sucked out of her. And I don't know how sustainable this is, especially with the finale where it seems like they moved to New York and you took her away from the people that actually give her support. So you've now successfully isolated her. How is she supposed to make the money to keep you guys afloat? And New York is not cheap. So that whole thing, and even before all of that, she was asking for help with the kids. So I don't know how sustainable that is. If she's gonna choose the path of we're just gonna hold it together and God is gonna fix everything, or if she's just gonna be like, I can't do this.
I think financial independence is the key. And as long as she's making her social media money, which with the show, I'm sure she's in line to make even more. Yeah, they're gonna be divorced. I don't know how long it'll take, 5 years, 10 years, but this marriage is not gonna last. When she
Uh,
finds
I,
her voice and when she finds herself, it can't last.
yeah, I will say though, in the Vegas, I know the girls were trying to support her, but it was free game because Zach truly insulted every single one of them, saying one was married to an old person, one is divorced at 22, and just going, blazes on all the people. And all the girls just came so hard at Jen. And I'm like, I'm not saying don't say the truth, but I do think that they went a little hard to call, your friend's husband, he's a piece of shit. I don't respect him. His this, is that. I'm like, that's a lot. Like, she's already conflicted. And this is somebody she's going to go back to. It's not like she's saying, I'm leaving him. Like, just slow down. That was a lot for her to take in. I just thought they could have been nicer.
I mean, but he was like you said, he insulted them too, so they weren't looking for reasons to be nice.
Yes, yes, that's true. That's true. But sometimes approach matters. Um, One of my favorite moments, which made Demi my favorite, was truly when they went for Macy's birthday, and they attacked Demi. She called Taylor white trash. She said this, she said that. Demi took it like a champ and tried to explain, but the new Taylor, she's like, "Oh, it's fine, it's okay." Then Whitney had hers. Then they forced Whitney to have a conversation with Taylor, and then Whitney did what she does best, started running away. And Demi was like, "No, not today. No, I'm gonna call her out. I'm gonna tell her that she's doing this." And then when they rallied around her, she came on there. She's like, "Oh, y'all won't tell her everything that you've been saying." Instead, she has minions around her. And then she was like, they were like, "We're not minions." Jen is like, "Oh, you need to give her space." And Demi is like, "No, when they were attacking me, no one asked me for space. She gonna get it tonight." It was the greatest thing I've ever seen, because a lot of these things people don't get called out. I think there was even a scene where um was it Whitney or somebody was talking to Layla about something Whitney did, and Layla was just nutting. She did not call Whitney out, and Whitney was going on about how she doesn't like Taylor. Taylor doesn't represent this. She doesn't like her. She doesn't. And I'm like, open your mouth and tell her, like, okay, would you at least say, would you have a conversation? And she's just nodding, and it's just such a pet peeve of mine where you're just agreeing and you're not really telling your friend the truth. But Demi was like, it's not going to be me today. I am saying all of the things and I don't care. I was here for it. I was so here for it.
One of the craziest moments of the show was when they were at, oh my gosh, was it Macy's event? Because it was so cute, Baby Mama.
Baby mama. How do we feel about that name?
That could start a whole new discussion about how these 7.5 white women, when people talk about appropriation, this is what they mean. Like when they're like, "I'm a bad bitch," and you're like, you know that language comes from like gay, queer, black culture. And then we just find it in the mainstream. And before you know it, you have these like white Mormon moms just saying things,
Yeah,
starting
and
lines called baby mama, which is like, I no, no. It's too deep, and like I need someone smarter than me to write the paper. But this is where like you're doing dances that are come from black culture. You're
mhm.
and who's getting all this money? It's not black people.
No one's getting 20,000. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, we're on the same page because I'm with you. I don't know how to articulate it. I don't know what I'm saying. All I know is when she said she gave some reason, some flimsy reason. I don't know what it was, and then I'm like, okay, baby mama. Okay, all right, we are going with that. So yeah, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
They were like, if Whitney doesn't show up by X time, let's unfollow her. And I was like, this
Oof,
is y'all's lives. Like, because what you're, I
oof.
mean, if you all unfollow her, there's a forum somewhere where people are like, all the mom talk moms, this is before the show even airs. All the
Yeah.
mom talk moms just unfollowed Whitney. I wonder what's going on. Like, this is how they live their lives, and it's so weird.
Yes, it is. And it was just yet another mean girl moment, because the other mean girl moment is when Whitney gave Demi a whole box full of Fruity Loops. What in the world would you think the joke would be? What is the haha? What is the thing? You're shooting a show where you know it's about Mormon things, and I think someone even mentioned before then that they weren't going to talk about it. She was drunk when she said it. Why would you do that? And you're like, haha, it's a girls' night on camera, Whitney, on camera. That was
But
me.
this is the transition from social media to reality TV. On reality TV, everything's game. We got to create a storyline.
Yeah, it's just sad. Which is what makes it all the more like annoying when Whitney's like, I don't know what the future is with mom talk. I just need space. I'm like, Whitney, you of all people want to be so bad on here. She's going to be the person who has the most FOMO if they propel on to like fame and she's left behind. Listen, you moved back from Hawaii and allegedly bought a house sight unseen. So please don't insult our intelligence and be like, oh, I don't know what the future is with mom talk and all that stuff. Like, it's kind of insane. And going on and on about, I left a group chat, but no one checked up on me. You left, bitch.
I am very ready for a second season because of the way they ended the first season. I was like,
Yeah.
who is this girl on the phone and what nonsense did Dakota do?
Also, doesn't matter. I'm not gonna lie. That was just a thing. It's like I just think Taylor's looking for an excuse. They both agreed that they weren't together. Yes, it's in poor taste, but you're dating Dakota. Like it just seems like that would be like par for course for him. And if you agree that you've moved on, you've agreed you're gonna raise a child with him, just put it behind you. Whether he slept with her or not is moot at this point. It's just is he being faithful to you now? So that argument was actually kind of stale. I'm not gonna lie.
But I'm not sure he is being faithful right now. I have no belief that he is being faithful right now.
well, well, well. I don't know. Macy inserting herself to ask all the questions. I'm like, it couldn't be me. I'm not gonna do that. That just seems like a lot. I do have a question, Aid. Mormons can't have coffee or tea, but they can have soda. Is it not the caffeine that's the problem?
I thought it was the caffeine. Like I thought I read somewhere that like caffeine-free Coke products, like that's where you sell them the most, is in Utah. But then I see them just having regular Diet Coke. I was confused.
Or is caffeine Jehovah Witness? Am I
No,
confusing
it's the
them?
Mormons too. At least it
It's the
used to
Mormons,
be.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
Because then they said because they can have any of this, soda is their drug of choice per se. And then I saw them with Mountain Dew and the Coke, like you said. But then when they went to the soda shop, the one where they said they drink a 44-ounce every day, there's like a mix. So I'm like, is it soda or is it, I don't know what they were mixing, but they're soda choices, I guess. And there's one in every corner.
Uh yeah. I don't get it either.
The
But you know what? Those soda places or the soda like promos that they did, they look cute.
sips, yeah, 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 they did. It was just me trying to make out because at the party they had the cans and all the stuff. But then I was like, oh, caffeine. Then when I saw the soda shop, I was like, oh, maybe it's not caffeine. It's just syrup. But then how they get the bubbles? So I was just creating questions for myself.
But the
But it's
bubbles aren't
fascinating.
caffeine.
Um. Oh, there. I know. I know. I'm just saying. Like, I don't know the. I don't know. I don't know how you make soda. I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know.
Okay. I'm just gonna let
I
it
was
go.
just confused. Yes, yes, I was just confused. But I don't know. I don't know. Is there anything we are missing? I don't know. Michaela. There's nothing really much to say about her.
I will
I
admit
hope
that some of
she's.
these people I didn't really connect with their storylines if they had one.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm like, I hope Michaela solved her skin stuff because I thought she was. I didn't know it was a skin thing. I thought it was like she was sick because she looked sick. Then apparently people who know her, she's been talking about it, and she's like she still hasn't figured it out. But I do hope she, you know, figures it out.
She mentioned it
Um,
at the top of the show. Like in the first
the
episode, she talked about how she has a skin condition and she shares about it on TikTok.
oh yeah, I mean like before she talked about it, I just looked at her when I first was introduced to her. She just looked sick, and then she mentioned that. So but I think she still hasn't figured out what the actual condition is, right? Or no?
I can't
Did I hear
remember.
wrong? Yeah, I don't think she's figured out exactly what it is. She was like, if y'all know what's going on, I'd like to know too. But I hope she does. But I mean, the makeup they gave her in the confessional, you couldn't even tell. So, she looked good. Jesse is just a fire personality, I guess. And that's the thing. Everybody doesn't have to be the lead or have like a strong storyline. So I don't think Jesse has like a strong storyline, but I think she's just a personality. So she's a good supporting character because she's the one who gave us Vegas, kind of like how people always say Candy's not a good leading character, but she gave us Bolo. So, because Jesse had to have known what would have happened when she took them to Chippendales.
There were too many of them. I think what they had 8 cast members total.
I didn't count, funny enough.
10, however many were in those blue jackets in the opening sequence. There was too many. Some people just had to kind of be background supporting characters, and that was fine.
Yes, yes. It is listen, one more thing. We talked about the caffeine, we talked about the surgery and the breadwinners. Another tenant, they talked very casually about taking ketamine.
Oh, how did I miss that?
There was a something about a ketamine drop, and I'm like, because that's when who confessed? Oh, they said that's when Whitney confessed that she did the RSV dance for um to go viral. Because someone was like, "Oh no, she was doing it as a happy thing," and she was like, "No, she confessed. We went and did ketamine, and it's like a truth serum." And I'm just like, "Okay, guys, what is or isn't allowed?" Like, I don't know because I'd give up. Like, if someone's really trying to rebel, okay, fine, I can't do coffee, but I can swing, and I can do surgery, but I can do ketamine. Like, I don't know where we are now at this point.
Only
So
50% of it's just, yeah. The other thing that actually really bothered me while watching the show was when they brought alcohol to someone else's house who like
yes, to Jen's
that
house,
was
yes.
rude.
Yes, it was. And she did say if it was my house, that's one thing, but to my in-laws' house, yes, that was unnecessary.
And then they were
Really.
like, "We're uninvited for the baby blessing." How rude. I'm like, y'all brought alcohol into someone's house. Like, you should have been uninvited from the next event. I didn't feel bad for you.
I think fine to be uninvited, but you got to tell people when they're uninvited. You can't not say anything. And then I honestly thought it was Jen's choice, but I think I'm now it was Zach. It was Zach, and Jen just had to bear the brunt of it, I guess. But I
If you
think if it
ever,
was left to, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, if you ever want to know the difference between being kind and being nice, the way that man nicely told them you're uninvited, but we love you, or something, whatever the hell he said. That is a case in point of the difference between being kind and being nice. You can be nice while being an absolute asshole, telling someone they're not invited to your house because they're immoral. Nicely. I've never seen such a thing.
I ain't giving Zach points. Boo. Actually, what I think was nice was the way I think it was Demi and Jesse. They didn't make a big stink about it. They were just like, okay, thank you. We just didn't know because they were like, oh, what are we wearing and all that. I think they took it really well and just let her off the hook. But
I just
that's
want to
what
be
they should do
clear.
for
I
her.
wasn't giving Zach a compliment per se. I was just like, it's just very rare in your life that you will see this play out. Like, you'll hear about people who are like underhandedly bitchy,
Yeah.
and that's what that was.
I mean, I don't know. I hope they haven't peaked with season one where they've played out all the storylines and all the things, and I hope we get a second season that's just as fun as this one was. Like, I don't know, can lightning strike twice?
I don't know, but we'll take a second season, just not in a year. They're gonna have to go a little bit quicker than that for me.
Anything else that you
Nothing
got?
else.
Okay.
So, all right, guys. Aid signing off for the, for the last time as a series regular, if you will. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, Tane.
Oh,
So
thanks,
long.
Aid.
Farewell.
Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.
Bye. Oh wait, I still have to do our outro. You can find Tane on Instagram and Twitter at
Oh,
AltarCallMAFS. That's AltarCallMAFS. She's gonna love hearing from you guys as you continue to support her on social media.
please continue to give us, like, it's weird to say me, a 5-star rating, the Altar Call MAFS, a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And we will see you next week with Love is Blind. And we love you, Aid.
Love
Bye,
you
guys.
too. Bye, guys.